everyone. It is Thursday, the 7th of October. 7 days down already. Boom. 7 days in October. 7 days in the fourth quarter. How was your day? What are you grateful for this Thursday night? The 7th of October already. You guys are amazing already working your way through this week. I mean, we're past hump day. We're just working our way. We're working for a living. Hello, Adele and Dazzle. Dazzle, it is treat time. I'm more 8 than it. I'm more 8 than ish. I am more 8 than ish tonight. So I am, you're not having to sit there with the growling pains in your tummy, Dazzle. We are doing. So it is great to have you here. It is great to have everybody here. I hope, Adele, you had a great day in Michigan today. It was a beautiful day here in New England. Granted, I was at my desk all day, so that kept me hopping, but it got into the 70s, but it got there earlier today. So my office got a little warmer because I've got the air conditioning on and off. I mean, I have the air conditioning off, and I had to open a couple more windows today, which isn't a bad thing. I can feel it cooling off tonight, but it's supposed to get right back there into the low 70s tomorrow. And the shoppers were out today, which is also a great thing. I missed. I got to redo. I mean, you heard about my new desk, but I've got to redo my setup here because I look out over this big window where I've always had my desk, but now I have my double monitors and everything, and I have this fancy stand for it. So now it's blocking my my view. I gotta change it up a little bit. I'm just not sure how I'm going to change it up, and that old fun of stretching power and all that stuff. So I haven't mentally figured all that out, but I do like my desk. Goes up, down with a button. It's a nice thing. And I wouldn't have thought the fancy monitor stand, if it hadn't come with it, I wouldn't have bought it. But that's what I get with a floor model. I'm going to get us started tonight with the Good Morning, Good Night book. The Good Morning, Good Night book is where we start this program every night. Tonight, we are on page 14. 14 tonight. Good morning. Before you let the world in, make a little space for yourself. Cup of coffee, tie to the counter, morning quiet. Savor the best part of that dream you had for one more second. Woo! Okay, have at it, world. Yeah, I that's the one thing I hate about it. I gotta redo it a little bit. I gotta change. I gotta twist it in such a way so that it works. But my old desk, which I still have a part of, had a return, so it was a big desk, and then it had a return on the other side. And I've kept the return for right now so that I can still have some of my files and other things that I grab on a daily basis over there. And, so I can't just my new desk that way. I'm too busy doing to be thinking about how to change my desk. There you go. Our quote from Simon tonight is emails get reactions, phone calls start conversations. Emails get reactions, and phone calls start conversations. And it's funny because emails so often, especially text emails and stuff, don't get and I'm not talking marketing emails. Text emails don't always get the reaction because, the reader adds tone and voice to it. The reader adds the tone and voice to it. I know so often we say, when you capitalize or your punctuation can, but so often it's the reader gets in their head what you're trying to say and add their own thing. And it becomes this whole back and forth versus just a quick conversation, and, picking up the phone. I love picking up the phone. I love picking up the phone. I do it so often. I spend a lot of time on it. All right, I got a bunch of stuff for you tonight. For you tonight. The FDA has authorized an additional over-the-counter home test for COVID. And this is big news. This is big news because rapid COVID tests, at-home COVID tests, have been readily available in Britain and Europe for free or extremely low cost. I mean, like having a package of Band-Aids at home is the way COVID tests are. So you can have an employee that just feels a little tired this morning, not normal, and they're instructed to take one of their at-home COVID tests before they leave the house. So, they can get a response back in minutes, no lab, no anything, where the U.S. has been really stuck on this whole lab thing. It's really going to hurt the labs when this is in wide availability, and they're expecting the end of the year, beginning of 2022, to have these tests widely available, so that you can have them. I mean, it can be part of your store supply list, that you send everybody home with one. And it's what in Europe and in Britain, that's what they're using for everybody. Everybody has these. The government's readily supplied them. You can pick them up for nothing. And, so that is how they're keeping COVID out of schools. That's how they're keeping it out of the workplaces. And, the U.S. has really been bogged down in getting that out. Hey, Kitty, it is great to have you here tonight live. So that is really good news that that's been approved. It's probably a little late at this point, especially as so many of these things we're rushing to vaccinate, and we're doing a decent job, not a great job, but a decent job at that. It would have been better had we had that a year ago. But these rapid at-home COVID tests in big supply will be a big help. Yes, I was on time. Cassandra just got home and she's like, "Are you going on now, or are you coming down to eat dinner?" And I'm like, "I'll go on real quick, and we'll be done, and then we can chill for the night." So I know it is unusual. The day gets away from me. And I've been at the desk all day today, Kitty, and the day gets away from me. And I'm already planning my tomorrow. I got my thing with the SBA tomorrow, so I got lots going on tomorrow. So lots on vaccines tonight, and I don't want to muddy the waters with it. I mean, on COVID tonight. Our friends at the National Retail Federation have been trying to quantify the effect of the Biden administration's OSHA vaccine mandate or testing on what it will affect, even though we don't know when that emergency temporary standard will take effect or what it will fully entail. Our friends at the National Retail Federation have been able to have done a lot of work to see how many retail workers this will affect. Keeping in mind that retail employs nearly 1 in 4 Americans. Okay, retail and its support network employs 1 in 4 Americans. Okay. The National Retail Federation estimates that 3.7 million retail sales workers and frontline managers will be covered by the mandate. Okay, 3.7. Now, this is the mandate. It will be on employers of 100 or more. Of that, they have calculated that 2.6 million of those people, so are already vaccinated, and of the remaining 1.1 million workers, about half, or about 555,000, will get the vaccine. Another 330,000, 9% of the total, will leave their jobs, leaving 220,000, 6% of the total, to be tested weekly. These 220,000 workers may claim a disability or religious-based exemption, or simply prefer regular testing. And it's still unclear, granted this has not come out yet, where the employers will be on this. We are broadcasting on both Facebook and YouTube. Any problems with Facebook, you can hop right on over to YouTube. Cassandra's got the link for you in the comments. So it is unclear where that will fall on employers. Like many corporate employers are mandating that you either get vaccinated or you leave your job. And so it is unclear if they will hold that with frontline retail workers, your Walmarts, your Targets, your Home Depots, think of that, okay, or if they will offer the weekly testing, keeping in mind that the employer will likely be on the hook not only for the weekly test, okay, but they will be on the hook for paying the employees time to get the test. So, and have to give them that time to get the test. So it is a big deal, and it's also unclear whether the new FDA rapid test that's going to be massively rapid available that I talked about just before will cover that, or if under the Labor Department standard they will require the PCR lab test. I expect some in the U.S., just because that's the way the cookie crumbles. I expect that the labs are pushing hard on the Biden administration to include the PCR test as a requirement for the weekly testing, so that the labs still get the business. And I'm quite positive they will talk about other things, such as how that is safer for the whole workforce and all this other stuff. But these rapid tests, like I was talking about, have been used widely throughout Europe and Britain throughout this pandemic, and have really stopped the spread because it keeps people at home. They never leave to get tested. They never leave when they're not feeling well. It really kept, reduced that spread. So hopefully we will get that. So this is an interesting one. So while we're talking vaccines and everything, so an employer, this is a very interesting situation. A hospital system in Arkansas that is mandating the COVID-19 vaccine among its workforce has taken an interesting approach during its review of a religious exemption request, asking employees to verify that they don't or won't use popular medications such as Tylenol, aspirin, Motrin, ibuprofen, Pepto-Bismol, Tums, and Benadryl, if they want to prove the sincerity of one particular religious belief. And that is an interesting take. So that is an interesting take. So the objection of employees, okay, around the country, one of the defenses they're using in claiming the religious exemption is who have objections because fetal cells derived from abortions were used in certain stages of vaccine development. Some fetal cell lines are historically derived from elective abortions performed decades ago, not for purposes of vaccine development, and have been used to create vaccines for various diseases such as hepatitis, rubella, and rabies. Fetal cell lines were used during early research of mRNA COVID-19 vaccines and during production of COVID-19 viral vector vaccines. None of the COVID-19 vaccines themselves actually contain aborted fetal cells. Some members of the religious community, including those in the Catholic Church, have concerns about pharmaceutical companies using fetal cell lines derived from past abortions to develop the vaccine. Their objection is the belief that receiving the vaccine constitutes cooperation with abortion. However, in December 2020, the Vatican announced that in the absence of ethically irreproachable vaccines, the available COVID-19 vaccines were morally acceptable given the danger of the pandemic. The announcement said that the use of such vaccines would not constitute formal cooperation with abortions that took place in the past. A school system, or excuse me, another no, this hospital, this healthcare system, um, putting this to the test after receiving numerous religious exemption requests, which were the majority of which related to fetal cell lines. Um, in Conway, the hospital system is requiring employees to attest in signing the religious exemption. Employees must affirm that their sincerely held religious belief is consistent and true, and that they do not and will not use any prescription, over-the-counter, or other medication or vaccines that have used fetal cell lines in their development or testing. And the form lists 30 medications that have used that in their development, including everyday medicines such as Tylenol and aspirin. And the form also, this employer took it a step further. The form also advises unvaccinated employees of the requirements for continued testing and the potential for reassignment to other positions to mitigate risk to patients and other staff. Obviously, this has created an uproar in Arkansas on social media, and because they said it was to shame staff. And the hospital said it was twofold: to ensure staff requesting the exemption are sincere in their beliefs, and two, to educate staff who might have requested an exemption without understanding the full scope of how fetal cells are used in testing and development of common medicines. It's not about the validity of a belief, but whether the belief is sincerely held. So it is very interesting, what employers are going through. But as requirements have come out, okay, as these deadlines are being hit across the country, it is a very small percentage of the workforce that is not getting vaccinated and is being terminated. It is an extremely small percentage, even lower than was predicted just a couple weeks ago in most parts of the country. So it is not this mountain of people that are not getting vaccinated. And relative to the total employment, it is a small portion, which is good. I like this quote too. Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds you plant. From Robert Stevenson, a writer, poet, and essayist. Yes. Our friends at Best Buy is rolling out its Total Tech program nationwide. The membership program, okay, everybody wants a recurring membership. The membership program costs $199 per year and promises perks like unlimited Geek Squad support, free delivery, and extended return windows. Their data is showing that the members that were part of their test group interact more frequently and have a higher incremental spend than non-members. But also, this is the big one that they are using to be competitive. Members also get advantage access to hard-to-find holiday items. And the offering is meant to court buyers ahead of the holiday season. So trying to lock loyal buyers in. And again, membership and rewards programs have been around a long time, but there is a big push on them right now. And actually, I have a whole thing to do a whole talk about what's making successful rewards programs with the majors. So we will talk about that in an upcoming week. That is a big topic, and I've had it put aside to have so that we can actually talk about what is making these reward programs successful for the majors, from McDonald's to Starbucks on up, and how you can apply lessons learned from that to your developing or enhancing your own rewards program, which is so important. Even Walmart Plus, which is, people are like, Walmart trying to take on Amazon, now has about 32 million members in the last that were joined in the last year. And it's estimated that Best Buy's program will end out between 6 and 10 million. So, an interesting statistic, 85% of toys sold in the U.S. are made in China. That's not a surprise. The last 3 months of the year generate 70% of the annual toy sales. 70% of annual toy sales in the U.S., which are annual U.S. sales are over 33 billion, happen in the last quarter of the year. Oh, I forgot this when I was talking about vaccines and jobs and everything else. A court in Pennsylvania refused to dismiss a lawsuit alleging that an employer violated the Americans with Disabilities Act by firing a worker because she tested positive for COVID-19. Notably, the plaintiff alleged that she was fired on the same day she disclosed her diagnosis to her supervisor. So the court ruled that COVID could be a disability. And that is the interesting part of that. Your Remarkable bag has become a real good rewards program. As we suggest, they leave it in their car. When they get in their car, they see our logo. Yes, they do. That's great, Kitty. I love it. We'll work that into our discussion of it. There are just so many good things happening. What's really good with what's happening with reward programs is how open customers are to them. And that is what is super important with that, is how open customers are to them. And lastly, on vaccines, you probably heard in the news that the malaria vaccine has been approved, and the World Health Organization is advocating that for a lot of countries use it, especially, I believe, in like Africa and things like that. But, in an interesting turn of events on the vaccine front, okay, which has been a huge moneymaker for Moderna and Pfizer, GlaxoSmithKline is committed to making the vaccine available at a cost of no more than 5% more than the cost to produce it. So profit margin of 5%, which is interesting because the pharma industry is usually lined with greed and profits, but it can also be do some good deeds here. And quite honestly, the number of people that actually die a year from malaria is exceptionally high. I forget what the exact number is, but it is actually it is much higher than you would think it is. It is exceptionally high. And had there not been COVID, you would it would be a very remarkable number by itself. So that is actually a good thing. You know what else is a good thing? This video and everything I talk about. Goes over to nerds.org/resale strong by noon the next day. Noon, I tell you. It's all over there, all the files, all the links, all the references, including a direct link to the YouTube channel. You're not alone running this store, where you can like, comment, subscribe, and oh yeah, you can ring the bell. You can ring the bell so you know when a new one drops. You can also share it with all your friends in business, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, so we can help everybody make it across to the other side. On here every night in the Nards Private Facebook group at more 8 than ish, live in the Nards Private Facebook group. But if you have a question in between, just email me, Neil, Neil at ECIstores.com, Neil at ECIstores.com. We start this program every night with the Good Morning, Good Night book. The Good Morning, Good Night book is how we start. If you were not here at the top of the program, our Good Morning tonight on page, I think, 14 is good morning. Before you let the world in, make a little space for yourself. Cup of coffee, tied to the counter, morning quiet. Savor the best part of that dream you had for one more second. Whoa, okay, have at it, world. Our good night tonight is good night. Before you turn the world down, make a little space for yourself. Brush your teeth, tie to the counter, put the phone down. Savor the best part of the day for one more second. Woo! Okay, have at it, dreams. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Neil Abrams, and I do like a good party, a wedding, a bar mitzvah even. We will party again. We will party in person. And when we do, I'm going to be there with you. But until then, and until tomorrow night at more 8 than ish, know that you, and you, but most importantly you, yes, you're not alone running this store. Have a great night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. It's time for dinner.